Hey everybody, welcome to my workshop here at Miller's Farm Shop. Today we're going to be doing this resin table. So this is really a platform for you to be able to ask questions on resin. We're going to talk about a few different things, so a few different finishes, how we cope with it turning wise, and yeah, well, hopefully by the end of this one, we're going to get this completely finished with a finish and the legs put on. Then all I have to do is wait for that to dry and buff and all those sorts of things. So we'll be able to see it from to completion today. That's hopefully the plan anyway. Like I say, this is a platform to ask questions. When it comes to resin, I know there's a huge amount of interest in it. We've gone big, obviously, for this demonstration, but you don't have to. And my best advice would be, if you've never done any resin turning before, start small. Several reasons. Your costs are going to be kept down because resin isn't cheap, and also the potential for failure is going to be minimized as well, because there's an awful lot of that possible. We've got Tom on questions today. Farmer Tom's here, and so any questions, just pass them through Tom, and he'll relay them through. I think he's got something to
got
say.
one already. Yep.
Good.
Jim B has asked, what lathe are you using, Cole?
It's the 406. It's the same lathe that I'm using for most of my projects here. At the end of this video, though, this stream will show you. I do like to push them a fair way, and we've done a lot of projects in recently, which have really pushed those lathes at 406. And one I'm looking at the moment, which you're going to see at the end, is probably the biggest thing that I've ever put on one of these machines, but it will cope with it. And we'll talk about that as well. We know if you get a big machine, it can do small stuff, but a lot of the time the small lathes can't do the big pieces. Well, I'm really pushing this one, like I say. So we'll talk about that and how you can help your machine when you're turning bigger pieces. Sort of point in question would be a big bowl on a small machine. So we'll look at how we help the machine out at the end. So we'll talk about that. Tom, please remind me, because I'll forget everything otherwise. Okay, so let's have a look at. Well, let's just take you through firstly how I've got to this stage, and there will be a video coming out soon. We've been videoing this through the whole process, from prepping the timber to mounting or positioning them in the mold, to the first pour, and then slabbing with a slabber jig, and finally sanding. I've done some sanding on this last week. And what I've done, I've sanded down to 320. And that's all I'm going to go on this one. We're not going to go any finer than that. And in fact, if you're then going to put a clear glaze on top, again, you don't really need to go any finer than that. In fact, I know people that go to 240 before they put a clear glaze on. Because as soon as you put that next layer of resin on, of course, it's magic, all of the scratches disappear. All you see is that lovely clear resin and your timber. But we're going to go right back to the start. So I first started with this one. We used a mold, and it was a latex mold. All right, nice and flexible. They're literally on the bench. Make sure your bench is level. And I'm going to go through as many problems that I found as we go through it. Resin's like liquid. It's like water. If your bench isn't level, you're going to have your resin pouring out of one side, so it's not going to work for you. The other thing with these type of molds, if you don't make your own mold, they will deteriorate, so you've got to be quite careful with them. I would spray every single time, make sure it's dead clean, but then spray a mold release agent in there. Otherwise, you find bits of this latex will want to bond to the epoxy, and that really causes a problem. You can see here where I've got little bits of anti-stick tape on, where that's happened a couple of times, and all I've done is just put that over the top just to help it not happen again, so that mold lasts a bit longer. And I'll be honest with you, that mold I expect to last probably 4 to 6 times before I have to replace it. It will just break. And it will not necessarily break, but it sticks so toughly to the resin that you'll have to break it getting it off. I've done that to a few now, just purely because that's happened. So mold release spray all of the time. The one I use, I bought off the internet. I think it was from Easy Composites, and that one was literally a silicone release spray, and that seemed to work really well. So that's the one I tend to use. Usual precautions: make sure the resin that you're going to use actually works with a deep pour. And there is 2 distinct differences. There's a countertop resin and there's a deep pour resin. Countertop resins aren't designed to go very, very thick. I would say 3 millimeters is their maximum thickness. They're very rapidly drying, and when we say rapidly, we're saying about sort of, it can be 12 hours, 24 hours, that sort of thing. If you have something drying in thickness like this, you get a lot of thermal buildup, so a lot of heat generated to the point where it will degrade, it will melt things. I've never seen it catch fire, but I've heard of it catching fire. You get it go catastrophically wrong, and it won't be any good. You get a lot of internal bubbles generated by that heat buildup. So make sure of that. I'm using craft resin for this one. I'm not linked to craft resin at all, but I found for this sort of size thing, it works well. Works well on this one purely because we've got lots of bits of timber in here, so there's actually no big lumps of resin in one area. Let me just show you a couple of others. These two, I've got two of these, another one down here. This one is a pair of side tables that I'm making for a customer, and he wants a clear glaze on the top of this. So Tom, have you got that picture there a second? So a clear glaze, this is going to be different to the other Yew one I'm doing. You can see here, the clear glaze on top, that generates a really glazy, glassy finish. So you have literally a layer of epoxy on top. Now, countertop resin is perfectly fine for that because it's only going to be the final clear coat. However, this had to be a deep pour. Now, even though I'm using craft resin and this is thinner than this one, this did start to heat up. I had to get the fans going fairly rapidly and just keep the fans on it for 24 hours whilst it was curing, because that amount of resin there on a fairly quick setting 24-hour resin was starting to get it a little bit warm. So just be aware. Now, the other interesting thing, if I can get that close to the camera, you can just see a few of the lines running here this way. That's all from the slabber. So I've used a router slabber jig. It's the Axminster slabber jig. And I've literally just run along with a milling cutter to flatten everything off. Works really, really well. I tended to do that before I mold as well, so I've got a nice flat surface. But yeah, they're ready to have their sanding. Then I'll get the outside turned or routed depending on my mood. And any lumps and little bits like that, I don't know if you can see there's a little void in there, that'll have to be filled again with resin. So it's one complete surface. That's that one. With this one, this is going to stay. My preference in terms of finish, it isn't the glazed finish, it's the natural timber with the resin. So we've broken through here to timber and resin. And what I want to do with this is just put a finish on afterwards. We're going to discuss the finishes when we get to them in a second. And yeah, I like a little bit of texture within. So having the natural timber there and the resin, for me, that's what I want. But also from this table, you can see the resins obviously filled the whole of that outside edge. I need to break through that resin. I want to get through to these little sections of timber. So we get stripes running down the side of the table as well. So first of all, I'm going to turn probably around about 6 mil, quarter of an inch off. That's going to do two things. Firstly, I'm going to break through that timber, but also we're going to make it dead round, because at the moment it's almost there, but there's a little lumps and bumps and wobbles because it's just it's a silicon mold, so it's not perfectly smooth. So I'm going to break through that. Then I'm going to just put a very slight radius edge on both, not a heavy radius, just a small radius. We'll use a little skew for that, just on as a negative rake scraper, really. Then we're going to sand. Then we're going to take it off here, do some final sanding on the bench, get our finish on, attach the legs. That's the plan anyway. So we'll see what happens. Now on the business end, back here, you can't see this, but we'll show you in a minute. I've got this fixed with a faceplate. So we've got a nice big 6-inch faceplate. There's about 8-9 screws on the back of this one, so nice and secure, and screwed into the timber, not the resin. Far more secure the timber than trying to screw into resin. It's a bit too brittle. And I've already found speed on this particular one. Tom's all the way over there, out the way, by the way. So if there's any catastrophic failures, both myself and Tom are going to be well out of the way. I don't expect there to be, but you always have to plan for the worst. In terms of running, I've checked. There's nothing blocking the blank. The tool rest is nice and secure and in the right place, and we're down really where the lathe just first kicks in. That's running, where's the speed? 184, that says there. So that's going to be where we stay to do that outside turning. We might turn it up in a minute. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I just need to feel how secure it is. I know everything I can do has made it as secure as possible, but there's always things to consider. If you've done this, so if you've put that on the lathe for the first time, you fire the lathe up to see how fast you want to run the piece, and then stop it quickly. Just bear in mind, you just need to make sure you lock it on tightly your first time. What I mean by that is quite easy to put a piece of timber on for the first time, turn it on, turn it off quickly, and it'll just undo. It needs that bite in just to make it secure, sort of thing. There we are. This will take ages. Me and Tom were doing a little video earlier, and we just wanted it to run down slowly. It's taken about 2 minutes. The inertia from that blank was taking a long time. So we just have to slow it down. I'm not going to put my fingers or hands anywhere near that. I'm on the hand wheel back here. There we go. Right, I'm going to get dust mask up, and we're going to start turning. Any questions, Tom, before we start? Good. Okay, let's start our bit of turning. If you've never turned resin before, you'll either love it or hate it, to be honest with you. I'm mixed emotions about it, to be fair. Yeah, you get lovely ribbons and shavings and stuff like that flying off. They can be a bit of a pain. I have to clean up separately from the rest of the wood waste, because I don't, a lot of my wood waste goes down to the garden as mulch or briquetted. I can't do that with this. This is going to be put out for the bin man, non-recyclable that I know of, once it's cast and it's solid. So treat it like any plastic, or so not treat it like plastic, because I don't think it's recyclable, but it has to go out for the bin man instead, unfortunately, at this stage. So I'll leave you to work out whether you still want to use it or not. Let's take our 6mm off. I've got a couple of extractors set up here, obviously to keep myself and Tom as safe as physically possible. And I will probably move them around. Unlike normally, where I've got my extractor right next to me, this time I have to walk back and forward. So I will be doing that whenever I want to turn the machine on and off. The other thing you may notice in certain views, there are a few leads around. That's just so you can see what I'm doing. We've manipulated the workshop, and we do have a few leads. Tom's not moving. I know where the walkway is. The machine's going to be off and back and forward, all those sorts of things. So if you feel obliged to comment about trip hazard, yes, there are a couple at the moment. It's just for this video. Then it all changes. It has to change by tomorrow, because we've got a course in here, a full course tomorrow and Saturday, making German smokers. So it has to be tidied up today. So extraction on. And we're going to turn that first outside skim off. So let's get rid of our latex mold. I'll put that out the way just for the minute. This isn't a view of the workshop you don't often see. This is a couple of the student lathes with all their kit ready. The normal streaming lathe is over this way here, and then we have another lathe there by the window. That's normally where I work when there's no course on, so people can see what I'm doing through the window. Okay, right, we'll skim this off. Now I have 1, 2, 3. I got 4 bowl gouges set up. One of those gouges has, 2 of those gouges have double blades on them. So I'm making sure I don't have to run over to the sharpening system and sharpen every time. I've just got loads of gouges that we're going through. So here goes, because it will take the edge off quickly. So lathe on. There we are. Start off with the big one, and we're just going to gently skim away. That's all I'm doing. that gouge has pretty much had its day, so we're just going to swap over, and we'll do one more skim, and then we'll do some questions as well. Just want to have a look and see what we're looking at in a minute. So. Turn that lathe speed up a little bit, I think. Right, let's just have a quick look at that. We'll do some questions as well. Slow the beast down. I still think we've got to go a little bit further yet, but it's happening. This is what I want. I want these to come through. Going to go a little bit further, like I say, a good 1/4 inch, just to get a bit more of it happening. But this is what I want. This is looking really nice now. Yeah. Tom, we got any questions?
Yes, mate. If I could just find them again. 2 seconds. Yeah. Do you ever use carbide tools for the resin?
I do.
That's from George, and Fuller wants to know that as well.
Yeah, no, I do. Carbide sometimes, really, for my smaller pieces, I tend to use them. We're going to use a skew on its side, like negative rake, in a minute, just to clean this up, and that works really, really well. But yeah, no, carbide are awesome, especially negative rake carbide. If you use a regular one, generally you find a lot of explosion, a lot of chipping. So go negative rake. That will really, really help improve that finish for you.
And yeah, and Fuller also say, is there a particular grind angle that is more suitable, maybe for?
Not really. I'm using 55 on most of these, but I would say 45 to 55 is pretty good. I've even got a bottom feeder over there that I've used for it, and that's 65. So I found everything. The only issue, the finer the angle you have, there's a little bit more aggressive it becomes, so you get a little bit more of that chipping, that raking occur. So just bear that in mind.
And James, so did you ever prepare? Did you have to prepare the yew or before casting it? Help them.
Just to prepare
is it the yew?
The yew, yes. Yeah. So all we'd literally done with that, I cut them to size, so they're all 50 mil. But that was it, because the slabber jig was gonna clean up the ends for me anyway. So that's all I done really, just cut them nice and accurately, and I cut that on the bandsaw in my V block, nice and securely that way. Then you see. All right. Right, we'll do a little bit more. Take another 1/4 inch, I reckon. Right, I'm just going to stop that briefly just to have a look. Any more questions whilst I'm stopped? No, good. Let's have a look, see where I'm coming from. There we are. 1, 2, little bit more, I think. I was looking at this raking here because right at the beginning it was raking a little bit, so I want to clean that up. Give the old lathe a help. Now I'm going to come back with a slightly finer cut. Now right on the end here, instead of just come straight off with the gouge, I'm going to just get the skew and we're going to do that last little bit, just really to avoid any breakout. So if I go with a large, any one of the skews to be honest, but just nice and flat. There we are, we're getting down to level now. Now we can clean up the rest of the surface. I'm going to put a very slight radius on this outside edge. There we are, just a slight radius, same on the back. There. Let's stop and have a look and see what's happening with that bark edge. I like that. That's looking nice. A couple of little chips here. I might just turn out a minute. But that's exactly the sort of effect that I was looking for. So we're just going to skim this. Tom, yes, any questions?
Yeah, well, Malcolm's asked, would you be able to show the lathe setup for him, please? But I guess when you take it off, you might be able to show.
Yeah, we'll show you in a minute.
So,
yeah. Basically, the lathe as is, the headstock's normally up here at the very end. This is normally where the tailstock sits. All I've done is just brought that lathe headstock up here and put the bed extension on, but dropped it down to the lower setting down the bottom. Well, we'll manipulate the camera around in a minute, and I'll show you exactly. But yes.
And Fuller's asked, do you know the initial weight, or what the initial weight was, and what the estimated weight is when it's finished?
Oh, the weight, I don't fully know. It was heavy enough for me to not be able to put it on with one hand. It's still a chunk. I don't know is the honest answer. Probably looking at it, feeling it, probably a good 15 to 20 kilos. I would have thought. Tom, what's that in pounds?
And James is he's quite surprised that it took you a full 25 minutes to get your signature skew out.
Got to come out sometime.
And Callum's just asked who's cleaning up. I said it'd probably be me, but I hope I get to use a brush this time. So that's good.
Not yet.
Oh, and also Jim's just asked, where did the mold come from?
I got that one from Amazon. If you go through any of those online stores, really, I haven't been able to find a UK supplier of ones of that size. But be careful. Make sure you read the thickness of the mold when you buy it, because I've seen a lot out there that are about 10 mil deep, which are no good to anybody. So we want good thick ones. There's a lot out there at 12 inches, so 300 mil. You can get some at sort of 16, a lot at 19. We'll measure this one in a minute. It's about 20. So yeah, it's quite a big lump, this one. But yeah, watch, just take a note of all the measurements. Right, a little bit more just to get rid of those little tears. Right, we'll stop again, we'll double check. Pretty good. Tiniest little bit more, I think. Just a wee bit. Let's go with the smaller, sharper skew. I pretty much rinsed that one. Okay, should be getting there, hopefully. There, that's it. Just a little bit of a radius on the edge here, like I said. Good. Right, we'll stop and double check, but I think that's it. I've already got a mountain of resin on the floor. Yeah, like that. Like that. That's enough. That's enough. Just gonna clean myself off a little bit. Use the mic. Right, get rid of this, but I can take that right the way out. There we are. Shall I just turn that mic off for the extractor off in a minute, Tom? And the computer will stop as well in a minute.
Callum's just asked, what sort of base are you going to set it on?
What sort of
base?
Base? You're going to see it all, Callum. I'm going to do some legs. We're going to do some hairpins. And we're hopefully going to get it all fitted. Let me get my brush. Just off the camera. Yeah, we're going to get the whole lot done. Just so I don't walk this all over the shop. Out the way.
You cleaning up the workshop is definitely a different YouTube channel.
I didn't catch that, Tom, but... Right, that out the way. Good. Put that right there. So look, we're pretty much there. Everything's smooth, just needs to be sanded. I've already done this to 320, don't forget, so I'm just going to work on this edge now. Nothing there to catch. My dust extraction nozzles going to keep me and Tom as safe as we as safe as we can be. I like that edge. Just enough is coming through. I'm not going to mess around with hand sanding. We're going to power sand this. All right. All good, Thomas? Dust extraction on again. Would you hit the air filter, Tom, as well? That little thing up there. You get air. No. That little remote control for the window. In the window. That's the one. We'll get everything running. Keep that. So I've got windows open as well. Power sand this one. So we'll start with a 180. I'm going to go right the way through to 320. Don't just hit it with your power sander. How's that happen? Don't just hit it with your power sander and hold it there, because what will happen, of course, is you'll start melting the dust and you get little fibers stick to it. So keep it cool. So what I'm going to do is just run it back and forward, come off. Run it back and forward, come off. Might affect the mic a little bit, so I'll stop this in a sec. Stop and have a look. That's working really quickly, actually. I'll just do another few seconds with that, and then we'll go over to the 240. Good, right, 240. 2020. And we're going to go for a sneaky 400 as well. Let's have a look and see what that's done. Yeah, I reckon we're going to go a little bit. I reckon we're going to go, a little bit finer. So I'm going to go. Let's grab a 600. Only because I don't know whether it's the power sander different to my rotary sander, but it's just leaving a few deeper scratches than I actually want in there. So 600 grit. I don't normally do this on resin, but now we're talking. That's better. I like that. This is 600 as well. There we are. Right, I think that will be more than enough. And we can go over to the lathe. Go over to the table, I mean. Just check all around. Yeah, good. Happy with that. Good. Right, let's give myself a dusting at the back of the room. Take this one off. We'll turn off the dust extractor as well in a moment. Okay, let's get rid of that dust extractor. We'll turn that off. Leave the air filter on. So you can see the faceplate there. Tom, would you have pop the number 3 on? Just have a look at this. So you can see what I've done with the lathe as well. So the headstock actually is where the tailstock normally is. I just brought it all the way up, swiveled it round so I could get good access with the tool rest here. And just put the lower bed on it. It's just made life a lot easier. And that's the beauty of that type of machine. We've had to do it a lot of times recently. We're doing a few more mules and finials and things like that. So grand. So my next job, we're going to take the faceplate off. I should have all my tools in the right place. I can get rid of that extractor stand now. That's one side. I'm just going to keep this on for a minute. I'm going to keep the air filter on for a minute, and we'll take off the face plate. So I've only got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 screws in here. They're all in timber, like I said. I think they're all in timber. Certainly most of them will be, just for strength. Let's take that off. Now, I haven't been as careful on the back as I have on the front. So what you'll probably find, well, you will find, I've seen it, there are a few little voids here. So in between the bark and the timber itself. On the front face, I filled them with black super glue. So the 03 black super glue, gone around and then sanded that flat, and that's made a really nice, neat job. It's got rid of all of those areas that would normally be a void. So let's pop that out of the way. We're going to sand that. Now, what I mean by that black glue, I don't know whether you can see here. So all of the, here we are, all of these areas where they were little voids, they've all been filled with this black super glue. And just take your time, go over. This is the front face. This is going to be facing it. Everyone's going to see this bit, you know. So it's quite important that that's quite looks just the job. Okay, let's just give a final sanding. The reason I'm doing this final sanding is just whilst it's on the lathe, any marks from the face plates, and also to show you guys really what I'm doing, how I'm doing this. And it's literally just a random orbital sander. I've got the 320 grit abrasive on that one, so we're just going to go over this and the front face. I've got it plugged on into the, I don't know where can we see that? I'll go to number 1, Tom. Number 1. I've got the new, where is it? There we are, the new pneumatic. The version of their Henry, but now for the trade, and they're still just under the 200 quid mark, so they're really, really cool. If you like the Henrys, you've got a Henry at home, then they just brought this one out in the trade colours, and it's an M class as well, so we've got a nice, fine, affordable vacuum cleaner in that one. Again, I'm not connected to them, I just like it. That's all I'm going to do on the back. All I'm going to do. We're going to come back to the back as well in a minute, because we're going to start with the finish on that side only. Let's do the front. There's also a chance that when I was sanding the edge, I may have come around the edge, which I have done here. So again, this 320 grit is going to make it nice and uniform. Oh, it's heavy for that. Few little jobs that I won't get to today. Just filling the holes from the screws from the faceplate. I'll probably just put a little bit of resin in there. I might even plug them. We'll see. There we are. That's out the way. That's out the way. All my trip hazards are out the way-ish. Okay, grand. So now, so you guys can see, I'm going to start and put a finish on the base. Then we're going to put the legs on, even though the base is wet. But I want to get this done today. When the cameras turn off, the legs are coming off. So I'm only going to put a couple of screws in, just so you can see it in its finished state. Then I'll put it on drying blocks, and we'll let it dry overnight before I finally put those legs on. But I want you to see it fully finished. In fact, I wonder, Tom, I'm just thinking on the fly here. Why don't I just put the legs on, and then we'll put the finish on the top? It gets the same effect, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Same effect. Yeah. So let's get the legs out. Let's talk about that.
Cole, where did you get your pneumatic Hoover from? And guess where can you get them as well?
The guys from Pneumatic came to see me actually, but they're selling them now for Axminster. Axminster Tools have them. I did ask. I said the first question I'll be asked: are they available in the States? At the moment, they're not, but they are looking at a dealer out there to distribute them. So yes, they eventually will be. But for the minute, Axminster Tools sell them. And like I say, to have an M-class vacuum extractor under the £200 mark for the trade is pretty much unheard of at the moment. So it's really, really good one. We've been using Henry's in our household for a long, long time, and to have that available was a nice little bonus as well because of its size. Really, it's easy liftable in and out of the van. It's just an easy one to use, so it's awesome.
And that was from Glenn and Liza. And Bradley wants to know what was the moisture content in the Yew when you made the pour?
Don't know. Bone dry. I don't measure moisture temperatures. I tend to just feel them by weight. But I know it was bone dry. I mean, I know the tree's been down for a long time. And for the tree wasn't down, I got this as toppings. And we're probably looking, I probably had that as about 5 or 6 years. I keep all my branch section in long sticks of about 5 to 6 foot, and let them drain naturally, and they dry within about 18 months to 2 years, up to that size. And then that way, you see, you can, once you trim the ends off, you've got all that center core, so you're going to get a little bit of splittage on the outside, but yeah, apart from that, you should be have a good solid core. Glenn, if you want the details of that vacuum, just private message me and we'll get them to you. Tom, I don't suppose you could find them on the Axminster site and put the link on for me. That's okay. Right, let's just put these on. When you get these legs, now I get these from these hairpin legs. Strangely, I get them from the Hairpin Leg Company. Search them online. They're really good. Again, no links. I just buy all my hairpins from them, and they give you options. This is a 3-stay, so you've got obviously 3 bars on it. You can get 2. You can get just left natural finish. You can get all colors, so golds and silvers and blues and reds, that sort of thing, and all different lengths as well. So these are the 400s. You can get. I do a lot with 700s. That's 700 millimeters. But this one's just a nice coffee table, I thought. So that's what we're going to go with. They supply you with the relevant screws to do the job. Okay, we're just going to use a couple of each just to show you. So we've got good sized pan head screws, and they also give you little bungs for the bottom of the foot. So these little rubber bungs, and they're awesome because they just literally clip onto the bottom, and it just protects the carpet a little bit. So really, really good. We'll put those on later on. Let's get them out of the way. Start putting some of these screws in. So I want to get. So I've already drilled. I've already marked positions for these. Again, I don't want to waste your time with any of that. So let's just put a few of these in. I just put the inner ones up. So the reason I say that is because it's easier doing these. My drill doesn't like to get in there. It's just a little bit harder, that's all. A little stubby screwdriver is what you need. A little side screwdriver. There we are. Let's bung a couple of these in. Just while I'm doing this, if anybody is in the Axminster area next Thursday, the 8th, I'll be doing an afternoon session in the Axminster store on Millway Rise. So that's in Axminster town. I'll be there from 2 till 4. And we're just going to have a little bit of fun on the lathe. We're just going to have a giggle, turn some stuff. Answer a few questions, hopefully, if there's any questions, turn up. And that's a free event. Just turn up and... yeah, come and have a bit of fun. That's next Thursday, the 8th of May, in Axminster store. There we are. There are the legs. So we got that in the right place. We've only put 2 in, 2 screws in each of these. Look, like I said, we've got the other 2 to go in, but that'll be done once you guys have gone. I'm going to finish this bottom by just plugging these holes. We'll put our finish on the bottom then. Okay, let's be careful with the legs because there's only 2 fittings in. We'll turn it over. We might need to adjust cameras, Tom. Nice height. I like that. I like that height. Yeah, so might just need to adjust a few things. You got a remote for that, haven't you, Tom? There we are. Look at that. Let's. I'm going to try and be really clever. And if everything goes dead, you know I've done the wrong thing, everybody. Let's just bring that in really close. Just go to this camera a minute, Tom. Let me show everybody what we're doing, what my job tomorrow is. Can you all see? Can you all see that? I'll just give you a bit of perspective. I'll stand next to it. This is going to be around a little finial, a big finial for a rooftop. I haven't weighed that either. I don't know how much that is. All I know is it's big.
It's heavy.
It's heavy, isn't it? Yeah, Tom brought it in for me, bless him, with sack trucks. So yeah, we're going to. That's my probably tomorrow evening after the guys have gone on the course. Let's focus on that now. Now let's have a look at finishes. I fell in love with 2 particular finishes, but they both work very, very differently. One is the Rubio, the Monaco, for this sort of thing, mixture of resin and timber. It does take a little bit of time to dry, but when you're making one of these tables, you're not in a rush. We shouldn't be in a rush anyway. That little jar, if I was making lots of these tables, it'd probably do me 40, 50 of these tables. You use the smallest amount of finish when you're using this. So not much at all. I think it's about 20 quid. That one, about £20. We're going to go different though. We're going to go with this one, the Odies. Exactly the same. Not exactly the same finish, but exactly the same in terms of the amount you use. Tiniest amount. I think it's about 60 quid, £65 a jar, that one. But I mean, I was guilty of scoffing at the price to start with, but they go on and on and on. Probably 100 of these tables out of that jar, without exaggerating. So that's what we're going to use. I'm going to wipe the surface clear, and I love putting this on with the random orbital, with a little applicator pad on it. So let's just give that a little bit of a wipe off. We'll just get I'm going to go for the white web racks on this and cut one of these to rough size. You don't need to cut your web racks dead round. Just about there will do. You can trim the corners off to use the corners if you want, so you can keep it square. It makes no difference really. Apart from that, you'll have a little bit more to use on another job. Then, got a little bit of Odie's. I'm going to get a stick just to give it a stir. And it's again, this heat, this sort of warmth that we're having in the UK at the moment, it's quite quick to soften. It's almost like a little honey. But yeah, just give it a little bit of a stir. I love the smell of this stuff. And don't have your random orbital on super quick either, otherwise you're going to get covered in the stuff. There we are. We'll start with that and see how much more I need to put on. That should be all right. So nice and low. Let's go a little bit more, not much, it's spread quite well. And then we'll do the outside edge. Sample, probably a bit too much. There we are, that's it. That'll do for the top just for the minute. Take that off, get rid of him. Look at that lovely colour coming out. Just a little bit more around the side. I've put a little bit of mica powder in here. This is a cobalt mica powder, just to give us a little bit of glitter. Sorry, Tom, my mic's just falling off. 2 seconds. That's brought out such a lovely colour in there. I love the glitter. Really, I'm going to get my head right in the way of that camera. Just see that mica coming out now. There. Then we're going to start burnishing. So just a little bit of elbow grease now. That. Probably not the job for one of the hottest days of the year so far, to be fair. That's lovely. That yew is standing out even more now. I'll come in the morning and we'll give this another buff. You can give it another coat. This, like the Rubio, will take quite a few days to fully cure. That's lovely. But just give it love. Give it a little bit of love. That's the best thing with all of these. This is not going to be a cheap table when it's finished. It needs that little bit of love there. I'm going to just wipe over the legs where my sweaty hands have been touching. I don't want any rust. I've just asked for these hairpins. They're just untreated, left raw. You might want to put a little bit of metlac or something like that on them, or a little bit of wax or something just to stop any humidity in the air from turning it into rust.
A couple of questions, Cole.
Go for it.
Phyllis asks, is oldies good for outdoor objects too?
Well, yes, is what I know. I don't have experience with it, but if you read the label and read the instructions, it says indoors and external use. Where are we? Indoor or outdoor use. So yes, it says, I don't know where, on number 2. There we are, right at the top, indoor or outdoor use. All right. Use on wood, metal, masonry, leather, plastic. It's all good. Eh? It does smell really nice. It's got sort of like a citrusy smell.
And Cam just asked, were you worried that you was dry enough, and did you test it? I think you did.
Yeah, no, I was not worried whether it was dry enough. I knew it was dry enough. I didn't test it. I just used my experience. But if it was going to be a I watched Blacktail Studios quite a lot, and he tested, because he's not making a few £100 tables. He's making several tens of £1,000 tables. Then it's important. I'm relying on my experience here, but when you're dealing with that sort of cash, then probably not worth taking a risk. There we are. Look at that. That's beautiful. I really like that table. Actually. Oh, there we are. Good. Any questions, Tom? I plugged a lot of other people's stuff today. Like I say, I don't take anything from any of this. It's just my opinion, on a completely unbiased opinion on things. I've used the Rubio with great effect. I've got the Odies that I really am into. I love that way of application with the random orbital. The hairpin leg company, I've just been using them for ages. For the hairpin legs, are reasonably priced. And efficient. Same with the vacuum. You know, it's a workshop vacuum, and it's an affordable one. It's the reason that I sort of give you all this advice, really. If I'm using it and it works, I think it's important to share that. The resin that I used in this case was craft resin, and if you haven't seen craft resin before, it's, oh my god, that's a big one. that's graft resin. That's that one. But bear this in mind: 24-hour curing craft resin. If that was a solid lump of resin, it would have overheated. It can't happen. It's only because it had all of that timber in it that was allowed that to happen. If you wanted to go for a real deep pour solid resin, then you need to have a much slower curing one, 3 to 4 days, to stop that thermal reaction. So just bear that in mind. Countertop resin, if you wanted to glaze coat that, it'd be countertop resin now, so 3mm. Craft resin would actually work. But the other good thing with countertop resin is it's a lot harder, more resistant to scratches and things like that. As it happens, I will probably go over the top of this with a ceramic coat, okay, so a ceramic finish. And I tend to use the Blacktail Studio ceramics and the nano finish. That's going to give you the hardest finish, very scratch resistant then as well. So heat resistant, but not proof. So if you put things like hot mugs on it, be aware that you can get rings created that erase the epoxy sometimes. So just be aware of that. But the way to avoid that and to minimize that, the chance of that happening would be to go for a countertop and then a ceramic coat. Tom, yes.
Well, thankfully, Cliff has got a far better memory than both of us. Colwyn's going to talk about the larger wood items on smaller lathes.
Large wood items, yeah. And because I get that quite a lot, we've got 3 406 lathes, which are known for being trade lathes, you know, quite big. Even with this piece, when I was turning it, it was starting to slow the lathe speed down. So what I should have done, which would have made life a little bit easier, was take the belt setting down to the lower belt setting. That's your first gear. That gives you more torque. If that still doesn't work, so I'm going to go look at this machine here. This is a craft machine, so a hobby turner's machine. In that case, when you're doing bowls and things like that, and I ran a bowl course last week, and we were doing big bowls. Again, same issue was happening. So there's a couple of ways around that. Change your belt settings first. So I know a lot of people that have belt settings on lathes and never change them. They are there for a reason. Imagine trying to ride your push bike around in top gear all the time. You know, in the minute you come to a hill, all that power, that work that you're having to do with your legs, it hurts. Same with a motor on a lathe. You know, you've got to give it a little bit of a break sometimes. Give it that low setting. The other thing, of course, is stop pushing as hard. It sounds simple, really. Stop pushing as hard. Don't take such big cuts. Listen to what the lathe's doing. So sharp tools. Allow the lathe to push through the cut. If you're trying to take a big half-inch cut from a half-inch bowl gouge on a small lathe, it is going to stop it. You can pretty much guarantee you can stop most lathes if you push hard enough. So just calm it down a little bit. Take a smaller cut. Take more of them. Less forward pressure. It's the only way to go. That big piece there, I'm going to be doing that the same. I'm going to be nursing the lathe. It's going to be down at its lowest belt setting where we can sacrifice speed for power. And take it to a first gear. And if I'm nice and gentle, nice and careful, I'll get away with it. So I won't need to go to a big machine. I am looking for a bigger machine just because I want to get some bigger throws. I want to be able to do big stuff, you know. As it happened, the 406, with this one, I can do about 3 feet over that sub bed, which enables me to do things like this relatively easily. There we are.
Also, Glenn wants to know, are you going to video the finial when you do it? We did talk about
We spoke about that, yeah, and we were going to do, what did you say, an overhead shot, just keep it from start to finish?
Yeah, just keep it running. I think we might have, maybe talked about doing it live, didn't we? Just like over social media, or we'll add it to the YouTube channel as well.
Probably to the YouTube. The reason I'm reluctant to do it live, it'll be very boring to watch because it will just be me holding a chisel on timber for a long time. And that's it. If we got to take a lot of timber away, it just takes a long time to do that. You know, there's no quick fix. So there's probably, turning wise, there's a good couple of hours work there to get it down to size. So we'll probably do a video, maybe cut out some of the boring parts. We'll see. Take some notes from you guys. But there, how are we doing, Tom? All good? All good. Well, I'm going to leave that to set. I'm going to tidy up around it, ready for my smoker course tomorrow. Don't forget, if you're in the area on the 8th of May, so Thursday the 8th of May, that's next Thursday, come to the Axminster store. If you're watching this live, of course, if it's recorded and you're watching it next year, don't go there because I won't be there. But yeah, 8th of May this year, 25, and I'll be turning stuff. Okay. But if you've liked what you see, and you know what I'm going to say, because I say it every time, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, give us as much feedback as you can. It may not be that I get to replying to you instantly. I will endeavor all of the time to get and answer as many of the questions that you do over on the YouTube channel. So yeah, please do that. And yeah, well, I hope you've enjoyed that. Are we all good to go, Tom? Lovely. Well, until next time. Next time, what are we doing? Oh, Tom, one job. One job. Tom requested that we do. He's going to hate this. Go to camera 2, Tom. Oh, you have to smile now. There we go. There's Tom. So Tom has requested that we do some shaving brushes. So I've got a little box here. Oh yeah. That's enough of the limelight, Tom. Come on. I've got a little box here of little Badger shaving brushes or brush heads. So we're going to do some shaving brushes and a little shaving brush bowl. Probably only do one, but we've got a bundle in there, especially for Tom. And yeah, that's going to be in 2 weeks' time, everybody. So if you like what you see, thumbs up. See you next time. Back up here at Miller's Farm. Bye-bye.